Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. Today's video is a review recap of The Wheel of Time, Episode 6, The Flame of Tarvalan. This aired on December 9th. So full spoilers ahead for the episode. If you haven't watched it, go watch this, go watch the previous episodes. So here's a quick synopsis and then we'll get into the episode. So Moraine faces the consequences of her action. Matt faces the darkness in himself, and Ewan faces the most powerful woman in the world. So damn, there's a lot of confrontation in this episode. So I will start by saying this is probably my favorite episode so far. This is completely Moraine's episode, and I think I enjoy the show as much as I do because of Rosamund Pike. I think she's great in the role of Moraine, and I think she just brings that level of like gravitas or importance to a show like this. She kind of grounds the show a little bit for a big fantasy show. So I don't know. I really like her role, and I think she's great. I also feel like this may be a little bit of foreshadowing, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So we we flash back at the beginning in the cold open, I would call it, or before the credits. We meet Berden and Swain, who are fishing, and also we see that Swain can channel magic. So after someone burns down their house, Burden, who is Swain's father, sends her off to be safe away from the village. It looks like some people may be looking for people who can probably channel. Same story, different time, really. Then we jump back um, to the future after the opening. We go back to the tower. Most of this episode really takes place in the tower. I do feel like this may be the last time we see the tower for a little while. Although I guess we could be coming back to look at some of the other Ace of Dice, but I feel like we're really focusing on Moraine and the group, which you'll see as I talk about the episode. Normally I talk about it kind of by group, but this one feels I'll just go in order of the episode, because by the end of the episode, like I said, big spoilers, our full party's back together. Everyone's back. Kind of. We'll get into that as well. But yeah, so as always, the sets here, I really like the main room where the Aes Sedai. We meet the Flame of Tarvalan, who we find out that it's an adult Swain. So she is kind of like the main Aes Sedai. She kind of rules. Everyone addresses her as mother. So yeah, that's fuck. I mean, like we just met her for a minute before the opening, so now we know the big status that she is, and I'm sure she'll be a big part of the story. Um, when when I mentioned a little bit of foreshadowing in this episode, I wonder if Moraine. I don't know. It occurred to me during the episode, like, does she eventually become like the main seat in the room? But I also feel like that's not her. That's a little bit out of character for her. Like, I don't know that she would want that role, as we've seen and we learn in this episode. Um, she feels like her mission is to go out and find these chosen ones, right, and explore and be out in the world away from the tower. Um, so we see the trial of the false dragon. He is sentenced to pretty much imprisonment um, for life. Whatever that ends up meaning. I don't know how. I don't know if they have natural lifespans like regular humans, or whatever that case may be. Um, we do find out a few things. We discover that the purpose of the Blue Aes Sedai is to discover secrets for protection of everyone in the tower and the world, really. We also know that Moraine comes from a noble house. She has noble beginnings, um, which really builds on her character, because being a noble person in this world and still choosing to serve in the tower, I think this says a lot. We see a lot of blue and red clash, like not just not just our main too, but even within the house, we see that there's a little bit of there's a lot of politics in this episode, and that's the big one, I would say. And then, like I said, we really just follow Maureen throughout this full episode. We see that she finally finds Rand and Matt, although it feels like she always kind of knew where they were, especially probably after they got into town. I think she would know. I feel like she's got a lot of connections in this town. Um, and then she kind of does like an exorcism. So we go back and we realize that the dark energy that was consuming Matt, it came from the dagger, right? From the dagger that he stole in a couple episodes back in the city. Um, so I completely missed that. That went over my head. That I wasn't sure how he was infected by the darkness, but I guess I didn't really pay attention to when he stole the dagger. That was the case. Um, Also, the effects for this exorcism or whatever, what the cleansing, whatever it was, whatever you want to call it, it looked great. That was probably some of the, like it's very low key magic, but it's still really cool. Um, and then we have a meeting in the steam room with some of the blues, with Moraine and the head blue Aes Sedai in charge. I don't remember her name at the time, and we really understand that the blue Aes Sedai really kind of stick up for each other, and they want to make sure that Moraine's okay. They want to put in a good word because Moraine will also be well. All the Aes Sedai that were involved in the conflict with the false dragon are kind of in trouble because they failed. So there's consequences for all of them, but it looks like Moraine's probably the one that is going to take the biggest brunt of it. Um, we also see that Ewain and Perrin make it to the city, but when Moraine visits them, she doesn't tell them that Matt and Rand are already there as well. Um, which seemed a little suspicious to me, but it doesn't really pay off in this episode. So I don't know. I'm confused. Why would Moraine made it sound like they were on their way and they would be there soon. So I'm a little confused. I don't know. There's a lot of machinations going on with Moraine. Um, and I don't know why she would have to lie about that. She could have said that they were being healed or something, that they couldn't see him at the moment if she wanted to just keep them apart. But then, as we see at the end of the episode, they all come together. So I don't understand the. I don't know if you have a little bit more insight on why she would keep them apart until maybe she wanted to wait till her punishment was given to make sure that everyone knew what was happening. Um, yeah, and then we see that Lana and Moraine have a conversation about her not going off on her own. I guess the Aes Sedai can disable their powers or their connection to the ward. But I mean, I would think if that's somebody you're connected to all the time, it would be weird to say the least when they kind of unplugged. So I don't know that I really like the relationship between Lan and Moraine as well. Um, so then we also realize that Moraine and Swain are a couple. Uh, they have a romantic encounter and they discuss like the future. So this is obviously all in secret of everyone. Nobody knows about this because it would raise a lot of questions and maybe even divide the tower. So I wonder if this will come to surface. And I think the punishment that is given to Moraine is in big part to prevent this secret from getting out. And they both kind of agree to it. It almost seems like they are. This is all part of the plan. So we'll see. Yeah. So we find out. I mean, in this episode, we also learn that Swain is. She used to be a blue, and I guess she ascended to be the Flame of Tarvalan in the main seat. Uh, they discuss their search for the dragon. So even though in public, Moraine doesn't really go into all the details of what she's been doing for the past 2 years outside of the tower, I think she knows. I think she lets Swain know all the stuff that's going on. We have a big confrontation with Leandra and Moraine about pretty much both threatening each other with each other's secrets. Like they both have knowledge or hidden knowledge of like each other that could negatively impact them. But Leandra doesn't know about Moraine's relationship with Swain. So like I don't know how big of a threat really Leandra would be. I feel like it's really the other way around, that Leandra's secret, if it were to get out, it may destroy everything she's worked for in the Reds. Um, they bring Nynaeve and Egwene to the Emerlin seat. That's the main seat in the tower, held by Swain. And we get a really cool exchange of trying to figure out, like, is their power for real? Like, I don't know. This is that big confrontation that not confrontation, but this is that big meeting that uh, was mentioned in the summary at the beginning. And like the main the main idea of that meeting is that the wheel of time doesn't care about your plans or what you think. It's really like whatever's going to happen, it's fated to happen. So even if Ewan and Nynaeve don't want to become, um, you know, don't want to be the dragon or embrace their power, or whatever the case may be, um, Swain kind of lets them know like that's really not really up to you anymore. It's been predetermined. So that's an interesting concept, that stuff like this would be predetermined. So I don't know. And I think it really changed their perspective as to the way they're approaching their decisions. We finally realized that the punishment for Moraine's gonna be exile from the tower. They do this really cool magic oath on a on an object, a mystic object, really. And I think this is where, so the oath was that Moraine would not come back until she was called back home. But now that we know about the secret relationship between Swain and Moraine, I think that that's kind of like the loophole, that Moraine really can probably come back when she's needed back in the tower. Um, we see that the Leonel built this thing that I guess under secret, because Moraine keeps addressing him as builder, the builder. So he builds like this portal thing. Like, look, if you have any kind of like fantasy background at all, when you see this structure, that's a portal. I remember, even from like, maybe even if you watch like the World of Warcraft movie or something like that, that is a portal. Um, like I mentioned before, the party's fully reunited. All the candidates and Moraine and Lan are together, along with the builder, and they plan to leave through this portal, to go figure out their next step. But we have a really big twist at the end. Everyone goes through the portal except Matt. Matt stays behind. So what does that mean? What's going to happen with Matt? Where's he going to go from there? Will he meet up with everyone else at some point? So this episode, like I said, it was really cool. Although it focused a lot on Moraine, it really moved the story along for everyone else. So yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments. Let me know if you have any more speculations or theories. Unless you read the books, don't worry about that. If you already know what's gonna happen, then don't worry about it. But if you have read the books, let me know, how are you enjoying the adaptation so far in these 6 episodes. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. We go live most Sundays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. On the latest live, we went back and took a look at some of our favorite work from creator George Perez, and his amazing comic book art. And we have more comic reviews, movie reviews, TV recaps, and all that good stuff here in the channel. So stay tuned and make sure to subscribe. So thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.